but I guess maybe because I just got like tall boy thumbs, I guess. Maybe I was like reaching down and really like, I don't know.
Tall boy
like,
thumbs.
Yeah, like I was like, just arc it in like a crane game, and I could just be like,
like
moving around.
From the vertical, yeah. I see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Meanwhile, that's the other thing. I don't have long fingers, and I have fat fingers. I have sausage ass fingers.
Shrek paws over here. My God, your fingers are saying, "Get out of my swamp." Small talk.
Fucking small talk.
Fucking small talk.
Should we even say our knock-knock jokes over again? Or is it just...
No. So, all right, guys, fun fact. We're doing the podcast thing where we complain about how our recording didn't work the first time, so we're redoing this. We've finally hit the milestone. You can cross it off the bingo card.
Fuck yeah. My Audacity crashed, and then it was like, oh, you have a project. Would you like to recover it? And I said, yes, please. And it said... okay, here you go. And there was nothing there.
It just slapped you right in the face. It just whipped out its Audacity dick and just hit you right across the jaw.
That's got to be a great sign for season 2, episode 1.
But hello, friends. Hi.
Hey, guys. We're here. Season 2, episode 1.
We're here for season 2. We're trying. Level 1.
We're trying to be here for you.
We swear to God we are. But this is the Player Power Podcast. And we are back for season 2. Level 1, guys. I hope you guys are ready. We have a great episode. We really do. It's so nice. We'll say it twice. It's a video. We are actually going to be doing a tier list of all of the great video game controllers and handheld devices throughout the existence of video gaming.
Yes. Just a quick note. Obviously, it's not all of them. There's a few. So honorable mentions right here to the Atari controllers of the world and the Commodore 64 controllers and the Super Scope and the Wii Fit board. We're not doing all of that shit. We're just doing the tried and true home console controllers that you know and love. So if there's any that we missed, yell at us.
Yeah, please let us know. Because obviously, really couldn't even do an actual tier list if we brought the Wii Balance Board into it, because it would just dominate so strongly that there'd be no point in talking about the other ones. I just want to talk more about the ingenious design of the Wii Balance Board and how it lost me 150 pounds.
The Wii Balance Board, 150 pounds. If you lost 150 pounds, you would be negative weight.
Yeah, fair enough. I would become a ghost, an actual ghost, just haunting the afterlife with my Wii Balance Board. You'd just be a floating
bag of skin with hair.
Wow, yeah, that's what my mom used to say to me every night.
Before we get into the good stuff, we are bringing back everyone's favorite segment, the homework game. For those of you that don't know...
I'm so sorry you're staticky again.
Oh, motherfucker. So, as I was saying, the homework game. Everyone's favorite segment. We're bringing it back. For those of you who don't know what the homework game is, maybe this is your first episode, maybe you just have not been paying attention the past every single episode. This is a segment in which Ryan and I assigned each other games that we need to play in between episodes of this podcast. Every episode, we will come back and we will share our experiences with said games. This season, Ryan has me playing Brave Fencer Musashi, a childhood favorite of his. I have him playing Celeste, a recent favorite of mine. So, Ryan, how are you liking Celeste?
Right now, it is... So just like Hollow Knight, which was the first game that Corey recommended me for Season 1, I'm already super duper in love with the idea of this game. So again, I'm playing Celeste now, which is a precision, and I definitely mean precision platformer, that I'm playing on my computer with a good old PS4 controller, which is a great segue for what we'll be talking about today. But anyways, so far the game has been fantastic. I've actually been kind of cruising through it. I kind of got yelled at by Corey here to not play anymore until we recorded this episode. He actually demanded it of me with my right of blood.
I put a knife to his throat and said, "You play one more goddamn level."
This is actually Stockholm Syndrome that I'm stuck doing this podcast for another season. But to be totally honest, Celeste has been so fun. I've gone through already 4 chapters. I've gone through the Golden Ridge. I've literally dominated so much of the game already, although there's actually so much for me to do. I really shouldn't say dominated yet, because I'm sure I haven't really hit the really hard levels. But
the other thing that I was saying, so part of this I have Ryan doing. He's going to do the main story. He's also going to do the unlockable 8th level. On top of that, he has to do all of the B-sides and all of the C-sides. And something else that I just realized is that even when you're playing through individual levels, the individual levels are going to take longer because you're going to die so much more.
So much more. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it's going to be ridiculous. But I'm so excited for it. So that's like something I really like. I love the instant get right back into it, try again, set up to the game itself. So I'm a huge grind guy in that way. Like, I'll keep trying until I get it right. So I'm definitely really happy with that. But I mean, besides that, I really love, like, the music has already been so top tier. I'm really excited for the B-side and C-side remixes of the songs, because all the music so far is really, really, really good. Especially the chase scene from Mr. Oshiro on the 3rd level when he's chasing on the rooftop and he turns into the crazy demon. It was so intense. It was actually so fun. And I really like all the mechanics that I've already worked through so far have already been really intricate, really interesting. You use them in what feels like glitchy ways sometimes, which I actually really like. So it's crazy, the design aspect of how the game works.
So that's actually something that's really cool about this game, is that the design philosophy is like the people who developed these games were very conscious about speedrunning, and they designed it with speedrunners in mind. So they designed, they incorporated some of these tactics to be, you have a lot at your disposal that you don't even realize you have at your disposal. And the game just gradually teaches you, hey, do you know you could do this? And like, it's totally possible you could have figured it out beforehand, but you get to that point where it teaches you, hey, why don't you try this? And you're like, oh my God, this makes everything so much better.
I can't wait to see more of that. But I still like, actually, definitely one of the harder moments that took me a tiny bit to get used to was when you have there's a part where you have 3 Battleons, I think it's Battleons, chasing you, and they're mimicking your movements. It's like 3 clones that are literally shadows of you. So like, I had to time my jumps to be able to weave through the 3 versions of me doing the jumps I just did. Yeah. So like, it's like, it was a really cool mechanic. At first I thought they were just chasing me. I didn't even realize that they were just imitating me until like I realized I was like dashing back and forth for a tiny bit, and then they just dashed at me. But I like noticed that they just kept following what I was doing. So that was like, so like, even that was such a cool mechanic for a game that doesn't have any actual combat fighting, unlike Hollow Knight with like the actual nail and everything. I still felt like, you know, it was like a really cool movement platform fight, essentially. They just do it so well in that aspect. And I'm really liking the challenge of collecting all those strawberries. Those gosh darn berries, and trying to catch them and then one of them, oh my God, one of them was so wild that I had to fall down, and then right before you fall and hit this pit in the hotel area, you like have to boost onto the wall, and then you have to jump over because there's a block that's also moving up and down through that area.
Yeah, I was watching. And then you were streaming this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like just having to try to like time to jump over and jump through it, and like all this crazy stuff. And it's so, because it's one thing to get the strawberry, but it's another thing to actually land and touch down and keep the strawberry. So so far everything, I'm liking everything about it. I haven't actually had a bad part about it. I love the story. It's incredibly not wholesome, obviously, because like the story is so everything's been dark, but like it gives me like a really like personal, like I'm invested vibe, like of a wholesome vibe, but like a weirdly negative wholesome almost, if that sounds
it's very
it sounds
emotional.
Weird.
It's a very self-reflective.
Impactful.
It's the whole thing is about Madeline and her personal struggles, and like the levels are very thematically centered around that. And the story is as well, and a bunch of the stuff, but
it's so cool. It's so far been really, really, really good.
Yeah, awesome, cool.
Yeah, I 100% love it, Matt. Great choice so far. Good, I can't wait to say you're wrong, but otherwise I don't think I will. So
I've been playing Brave Fencer Musashi, and I was saying this before, in a direct juxtaposition to how I was feeling about the first homework game you assigned me, which is one I did end up liking. It was Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions. I was a little bit more slow to start on that one. Brave Fencer Musashi, I'm in it all the way already. I'm loving it already.
Yeah, this one definitely is more. I don't think I'd have a problem showing this game to you.
Yeah.
It's funny that I'm like throwing all this Japanese stuff at you, but like this game to me is like I already know that you would already really enjoy almost everything about it. Like it definitely is just like a good story game that I could see you really liking.
Yeah, it's big thing right off the bat. It's hilarious. The princess, Musashi, the old geezer, all the NPCs, everyone. The dialogue is so funny, so outlandish and absurd. Like they were calling Musashi like Sir Little Turd, like because Musashi said something to the princess, and the princess is like, "What'd you say, you little turd?"
Yeah.
And it's just so like funny. It's great like that off the bat, and the gameplay. It's very cool. It's like I don't know. I don't even know how to properly describe it because it's not it's 3D. It's not side scrolling, but it's not really top down. It's like somewhere in between, like a weird like back upper angle. But also, even depending on the level, you could be doing a different angle. Like there's one where you're running away from a giant rolling stone face and you are running towards the camera in like a Crash Bandicoot style running away type thing. And it's just, so far it is very diverse in the gameplay that it offers. It's very fun. It's very cinematic. The direction is really, really cool. I basically played up through the first boss, which is the Steam Knight.
And it's a pretty good boss fight too for the flow of how to fight and kill the Steam Knight. It's a pretty good fight. It
took me quite a few. That was a cool one because it took me quite a few tries. I died quite a few times, but it wasn't. Each time I was like, okay, so I need to do something different.
Yeah,
and it was like actually that is one thing that I had a note on is like so far I feel like they've been a little selective with tutorial stuff. Because certain things like assimilate and certain other controls, they'll give you like full dialogue things of like, oh, this is how you use this or whatever, but then they will just fully not explain something else. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention, but like...
Yeah, I mean, so they pretty much, they like...
Well, they do kind of just thrust you into it, which I do like that style.
If you think about it, like one of the things I like about it is the story is super unique. So for example, instead like in a normal, hero saves the kingdom, saves the world, beats the whatever type thing, usually it's this grand almighty adventurer that is this virtuous person that wants to do, like save the world and like, be a good person. But what's super funny is that in this world, the world of the Thirst Quencher Empire is trying to take on the all-you-can-eat kingdom, and this kingdom with this princess uses her special summoning ability that all the princesses have in that world to summon the great legendary hero, Brave Fencer Musashi, to their world to save the day. Yeah. And upon summoning this brave hero,
like, what the fuck? What am I doing?
So this Musashi is this like 13-year-old kid that was like chilling in his room pretty much, and he just gets summoned to another world like an anime, and he's like, "What on earth do you guys want from me?" And they say, "Hey, if you want to even try to get back to your world, you gotta save us first. Here's this cool sword. Go save us. Get this other cool sword. Go save us, and have a great day." And that's like kind of how that's really how the game starts. You get thrown right into it, but they pretty much say Fusion, your blue sword, is your quick attack. Lumina, your red sword, would be your big sword. Fusion's the assembly. Fusion's your blue sword, the tiny sword that you slash with and then throw at people to absorb. And then Illumina's the big, giant, great sword that you picked up off of the head totem guy.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I am really loving it so far, and I'm excited to play more. I actually intentionally stopped after the Steam Night because I was like, that feels like a good amount to talk about on our first episode. And then I talked to you and you're like, oh, I'm halfway through the campaign of Celeste.
It's so good. It's so good. I can't stop. I literally can't stop. It's so good.
All right. So let's get into it. Let's do it.
We're going to get into the big stuff of the day. So once again, guys, we're going to do an ordered tier list of an ordered tier list of the video game controllers. And again, we're also including handhelds. Pretty much most of those are going to include a lot of the Nintendo handhelds because those are kind of really good or really bad controllers in their own right. And some of them are iconic as well. So I think it's something we really just want to talk about in general.
And for handhelds, we're not, just for reference, we're not ranking the consoles. We're ranking their controls specifically, how they feel in your hands, how the buttons feel, stuff like that.
Yeah. So this sounds really weird, but so I'm trying very hard not to talk about the screens unless it's a touch screen for controls, if that sounds right. Like me complaining that the original Game Boy it's hard to see on because of the screen. I'm not counting technically because that's more of the console experience, not the controls themselves.
But for like the gamepad and the DSs, that
touch screen, like how shitty the original DS touchscreen can be, that counts. But anyways, we'll get to that later on.
Let's get into it. So for reference, let's just to say we have 5 tiers. We have S, which is God tier. We have A, which is great. It's a great controller. B is good, G-U-D, good.
So C is our ite to meh tier. It's pretty much, it's not quite the worst thing ever designed by a stupid video game company, but it's pretty close. But it has like some sort of merit or like maybe nostalgic value that gives it a little bit more than a what were you thinking tier, which is our D tier, is the what were you thinking tier.
What were you thinking?
Big what were you thinking?
Why would you want to put this in hands of people?
Yes. So we're gonna go with the same order starting that we did before. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is the original Xbox controller, not the Xbox One controller, but the original black
Xbox.
Thick boy Xbox controller. And
the chonk God.
The chonk God can go right into the D tier in my opinion because this thing is a piece of shit.
It is. It's gross. It's the original Xbox controller. Horrible aesthetic. It feels clunky as heck. It's got a giant... We were saying this before. Plenty of controllers have the company's logo in the middle, but the Xbox controller has a giant fucking huge-ass circle smack dab in the middle, bigger than anything else on the controller. And it's horrendous. Just a big-ass Xbox right in the middle. It's gross.
Yeah, it's actually, it's bigger than $50, on your controller. It's crazy. And then also, they tried that. So Xbox tried to do this crazy thing before they really added. Because now that I remember, I don't think the Xbox had bumpers. I think they just had triggers on the back. I actually might even be wrong about that. Let me see if I can look at it.
Take a look.
But they tried to add this black and white buttons. So they tried to add these new extra buttons next to the classic A, B, X, Y, or whatever you want to call it. Actually, I can't really see the backing of it. Oh no, yeah, there are triggers. Yeah, so I was right. So there's no bumpers, but there's triggers.
Yep.
But so pretty much the black and white buttons are so uncomfortable to press. They're pretty much only menu buttons in most games, anyways. Yep. But they just were not in a good spot, and you already have the start and the back button. So it was so pointless. Yeah,
and they have the different analog sticks, which are different for no reason.
The different top pads, they were trying to make it look more precise for the aiming around stick, and then more big for the movement stick. But it's just all bad. It's really also it's in terms of the feel of it, it's that really. It's kind of the mid-age controller thing, but it was kind of cheap feeling plastic. It was just awkward. It was just unfortunately really rough. And that's why we're giving it the D tier.
Easy D tier. What's the next one?
So the next one, we are jumping right into the modern era, which is going to be the DualSense or the PS5 controller. This one, we have a little bit of a weird discussion about it because we both I don't own this controller. I've played a little bit on it. I played about 15 minutes with at my friend's house. He let me play some Call of Duty. I had to shoot some noobs with it. But especially from some of the hype I hear about it, but it's honestly, I think it's a god tier controller. From the little bit I played, the immersive senses that it has for being such a new modern controller, the touchscreen feels very, very, very strong. The triggers have this really very comfortable level of resistance where you feel like you're in control. It doesn't feel like a really light control stick that you can jiggle to shake and move. You really have full control if you're, if that's what you want. And then also the trigger sense that it has, or just anything the pulsing of the rumble pads inside of the handles, just all of it is really good. And they made it a little bit thicker compared to its PS4 counterpart, which is really nice. So that way it actually feels a little bit better in your hands. Because that was one of the complaints. As gamers got older and became adults, I think the PlayStation controller fell out of love for the sizing that it was.
Yeah, so I was a little skeptical putting it in God tier just because I literally have not ever touched this controller, but I have heard hype for it. The big thing that I think is really cool that bumps up the immersion level is, like Ryan was saying, I think it's called haptic feedback for the triggers.
Yeah, haptic. Thank you. That's what it's called. Haptic feedback.
It provides a sense of resistance depending on what you're doing in the game. So if you're pulling the trigger, shooting a gun, it's gonna give you feedback from the physical trigger to make it feel like you're squeezing the trigger of a gun, which is
wild. Like,
a little scary, but very cool.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's what that's like the new thing with games is the immersion level, because now that it's not as much imagination, it's you just freaking looking at how pretty games can get. I like that the controllers are keeping up with the experience of a good game now.
Now that you can just
like a movie you're playing.
Now that you can just pop on your Oculus Rift and just go into a really nice whatever porno game you want and just have a great experience. It's all about the immersion.
Corey, stop! I told you they're my friends. We hang out together, okay?
They're my girlfriends, all right?
Yeah,
Ryan,
God.
You are an engaged man.
I
now.
tipped her $80. Okay, she's my friend. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Please, nobody hold this recording hostage to me.
This is going on the internet forever.
This is going on the internet forever, but that is 100% all cap.
All right.
But anyways, continuing on, the next controller we're going to is back to the past. We are going to the good old Sega Genesis controller. Now, a quick caveat to any crazy fans of old video game systems, this is the OG Sega Genesis controller, which means it's the 3-button layout, not the 6-button layout that comes out, I think, like 5 years later or something like that.
So basically we're talking about at first it's competing with the NES, and then the Super Nintendo comes out.
Exactly. It's technically more the 6-pad going into Super Nintendo.
So like Ryan was saying earlier in our first recording, was that the Genesis controller is kind of the earliest version, really, of like an ergonomically designed video game controller, which is kind of cool. And it also has the D-pad has actual inputs for diagonal movement. It's got the 8-input D-pad, which is pretty neat.
Which is definitely pretty neat. It just shows that, they're really trying to make things more immersive for the times, which is really cool. Something I really like about the Sega Genesis, especially actually versus the 6-button pad controller later on, is that the shape and the size of it actually was pretty comfortable. You had a little bit of handling to grab onto with your bottom fingers on the old style things, because really the handles weren't really a thing yet. That really kind of comes out more like N64 era.
That's true. This is really like an early iteration of a controller with handles that's meant to be held in your hand for an extended period of time.
Exactly. And so, like, again, also, like, with, like, the really smooth plastic shelling that they do on it, a lot of it actually was it's actually, you can tell it's the basis that a lot of controllers were built off of. Yeah. I actually said before that, like, in my opinion, this is kind of like the start of where I think Sony gets a lot of inspiration for how their controller ends up eventually being set up and becoming. They kind of, I'm pretty sure they borrow ideas from a lot of different controllers. So,
yeah, my big pullback for this one was I'm not a big fan of the lateral button layout. I like if it's more than 2 buttons, I like if it's in some sort of cluster formation, just because I feel like that's a little bit more comfortable for my thumb, but that's kind of just a small gripe. I initially was thinking of putting it in C tier, but Ryan actually was pointing out all of these pros for it that made me agree we would put it in B, in good tier.
Yes, exactly. And so it's going to stick in B, which is good tier. Again, a pretty good controller. I think one of the reasons why it's going to be hard for me to put some old school controllers in the top tier is just because a lot of other controllers just became better due to the the trials and tribulations of these controllers we're talking about.
Well, and just again, the technology, they got better design sense with, all right, this is going to be in someone's hands for hours on end. Let's make it comfortable, and also the technology just got better.
Exactly. So next,
speaking of the technology, should have been getting better.
Yeah, the technology should have been getting better here, but let's talk about why it didn't. The next object we're going to talk about is the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, which you can talk about this, Corey.
Yeah, so I was saying before, the Joy-Cons, I'm very, very conflicted, because I still have the same Joy-Cons that I got on midnight of the release of the Switch. I have the exact same ones, maybe it's my fault because I haven't gotten new ones, but also I probably shouldn't have had to have gotten new ones because my Joy-Cons drift so goddamn bad. And Joy-Con drift
ridiculously bad
has been such a serious issue that Nintendo is currently in a class action lawsuit?
Yeah, an actual class action lawsuit.
Yes.
For how bad
because
it is.
they're basically being charged with designing technology that is intended to become obsolete and is intended to stop working. And it's just, I don't understand why, because the technology, good things about the Joy-Cons. They are very small, but they are incredibly comfortable in your hands. I was telling Ryan, there are some times when I'm playing Switch, and especially early on, if I'm playing in TV mode and I have Joy-Cons in either hand, I'm just laying on the couch, hands by my side, I can honestly forget that I'm holding a controller. And I think that's fantastic.
That's a huge plus. That's a huge plus.
That is exactly. That's exactly what you want your controllers to do. You want it to feel like it's just an extension between the player and the game. On top of that, there is some cool technology in here. Something that is horribly underutilized in almost every Switch game is the HD Rumble. Basically, the rumble motors in these controllers can simulate specific types of feelings and sensation. It's almost like the haptic feedback, but not really. It's like kind of just meant to simulate specific touches and feels in this little controller. That's really cool. And it's also got the infrared sensor, so you don't need like a motion sensor bar if you want to do motion controls or anything like that. It's got the gyro. These are relatively complex little controllers, but for some reason they must be made with the cheapest fucking materials out there because they're just going to shit.
Big going to shit, yeah. Like even so, like what's the only nice thing about my Joy-Cons is that which still, by the way, mine still has a slight north directional freaking drift. But I mostly play using Smash, so I don't actually use the Joy-Cons too much. They kind of sit on my Switch. But literally, for the little bit I've used them, I bought mine used literally from moment one that I had that Joy-Con had a little bit of drift on it. Yep. And it's sometimes I only can walk up, like if I'm playing like Breath of the Wild or something. I only can walk up, and I have to like re-slam it to run up. Like, it's ridiculous. Nintendo has some of the coolest ideas, but the worst executions of said ideas, or at least the consistency. Like a perfect Joy-Con, I'm sure there are some Joy-Cons that were made really well, like probably the one they made for E3, like the release day, like, you know, the demo was probably a really good made Joy-Con, but it does not mean that all Joy-Cons are created equal. In fact, all Joy-Cons are pretty much third-class serfs at this point. They're horrible, and they're broken inside.
They're pretty expensive, too. Even with all this shit going on, it's still $80 for just standard-ass gray Joy-Cons. Yeah. So where do you want to put this on the tier list? Because
I personally think they're in a C-ite to meh tier because again, their intention is what gives me a what were you does not give me a what were you thinking tier. But honestly, I don't want to say they're good because they're not consistent enough to be good. I think I would honestly want to put it in a C tier. Like again, like if this was just like execution, like or like concept, it's one of the coolest things and they like really could have done good if they just actually put some care into the hardware.
So you don't
not just designs.
So you don't think the pros are enough to put it in the good tier? You think it's the bad outweighs the good that much?
I think so because all of those good things can't even be utilized when you can't even use the controller for a joystick, which is like one of the main bases of a controller.
All right,
you know what I mean?
Like we'll do C. Then. Yeah, not quite D because I really do think there are so many great things about Joy-Cons.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's high C. It's the highest C. That's what I would say.
Well, I still just love holding them. It's just fucking using them as controllers. It's goddamn.
Yeah, if I could just hold them for like hand holding things. Yeah, perfect.
Exactly.
Perfect.
All right, let's do the next one.
So next we have going to a handheld. We have the Nintendo DS, the original Nintendo DS. And this is another thing that I'm personally going to shit on.
You're gonna put in D?
I kind of want to put it in a what were you thinking tier.
You were dumping on it, but like I didn't think you thought it was that bad.
So all right, so hear me out. So the only pros that I personally find in the DS is one thing, and that their left and right shoulder buttons feel good to press and hold on the body. Very clicky. actually comfortable. Everything else, in my opinion, is bad. So the touchscreen, not that strong. For me, after I think also this is a little hard. Like this is like a harsh comment to say because like I'm just like bad at taking care of things, especially when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But like DS did not hold up well for me. Let me tell you, like that thing, I could look at it the wrong way and the screen's snapping in half and it's not displaying. I had to go through like probably 3 DSs. Well, that was actually a horrible pun. I went through 3 normal DSs,
3 regular DSs.
regular DSs in my life before the DS Lite. So that's the reason why I'm putting in D tiers because I know the actual DS that we're technically putting in the 3DS category. Those I'll get into a little bit. Are actually I think is a really good handheld, but this one here, with how little optimizing they use of the controller itself, there's so much plastic that isn't anything important. It was just for sizing, and I feel like they could have utilized things better.
I guess I see. Okay.
So, and then lastly, the actual. Do you remember how bad the old buttons were? Like the A, B, X, and Y buttons.
See, that's why. I'm kind of at a loss here because I don't see why. I can get that. I can get seeing like okay. So clearly they were going for the clamshell, they were going for the dual screens, and that was the important thing. And then they were like, okay, we have to put buttons on here. Let's just throw them in the middle of both sides on the bottom. But I never was playing this and I was like, it feels bad.
So, all right. So what I don't like about the buttons in particular is it's the same exact type of button format as the Game Boy Advanced SP, okay? And so this is probably a personal thing. Why? Because I was bummed.
Because the SP only has 2 buttons.
No, but I'm talking about the type of button. So, like, looking at if you... oh, shit. Oh, this is not the one I want.
Are you sure? Because the SP buttons are just are really shallow, clacky.
Yeah, so is the original the original DS buttons are the super shallow ones that like have barely any push down feedback. So sometimes if you quickly slide on something, you won't press the button. So like for me, for example, one of the games I used to play was like one of the old Mega Man games. Okay, so what I like about the DS is that it had the Game Boy Advance attachment, but I don't really want to get into that because we're not talking about that. We're talking about the controls.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'd be playing like Mega Man, okay, like Mega Man Battle Network, moving around on this thing really quick, pressing B a bunch, switching to A, doing stuff. There'd be a lot of times after a decent amount of repeated use that I would slide my thumb down to hit B, and because the button is so tiny, I felt like I was pressing over it and it wouldn't press because there just wasn't enough actual press down to hit the receiver underneath the plastic shell after a decent amount of pressing. That's what I hated about the SP. That's what I loved about the original Game Boy Advance with the thicker buttons. You could easily press it down and slide it over your thumb and always hit it every time. But that's so like personally to me, the same thing with the D-pad. Like it felt like you couldn't press the D-pad button down enough when you were moving things. So like it just didn't feel like there was enough like tension almost. Not tension, like I don't know. It was just so shallow that it just did not give me good feedback on what I used to play on that.
Okay.
But compared to what we'll talk about later with the 3DS, I really like the thickness of the buttons.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I wish I had one so you could feel what I'm talking about because I almost can guarantee you now you'd be like, well yeah.
I hear what you're saying because I do remember the buttons being small. And the SP, that style of button I kind of like, actually. But I get what you're saying with those specific buttons, but I feel like that's not enough to put it in D. I feel like it's got to have enough stock to put it in C because it's like, it's still good to hold. It's hefty.
So what good things about it would you say? The original DS.
So I'm thinking in direct comparison to the 3DS. There's more meat on them bones. It's more comfortable to hold it because it fills out your hand a lot better. Like you said, the bumpers are in very natural positions. You don't need to contort your hands to press certain buttons. And the touchscreen, it never really gave me that many issues. But I guess I can see why it's not the greatest. I don't know. I really don't think it's that bad. I would put it in C.
So I guess all right. I could admit it to C, but so like for me, I guess actually I do agree the clamshell style was a little bit more comfortable to hold because it kind of follows the curves of your fingers instead of it being like a flat brick you pinch, like the 3DS is. But like I don't know, man. I think it's probably just more personal vendetta of like how annoyed I was at the 3DS more than anything.
It seems like I didn't really. I don't think I had
the
those
DS.
issues.
Sorry, the DS.
Funny story. Yeah. It was actually you and I. I don't know if you remember this. We were playing the multiplayer of either Phantom Hourglass or Spirit Tracks on the bus one time, and I didn't have my stylus, but we had a paperclip. So I thought it'd be a good idea.
I do remember.
You remember
this.
that?
Yeah, you scratched the shit.
I thought it would be a good
DS.
idea to use a paperclip as a stylus, and a giant ass fucking scratch right down the middle of my touch screen, and I was like, "Oh no!"
Yeah. Oh my god. Also, random quick shout out to playing Mario Hoops 3-on-3.
Oh hell yeah, dude. Oh,
that was actually probably some of the best fun I've ever had in my life.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, so we need to get back. We'll get back on topic. Yeah. I'll give it C tier. Personally,
C tier original DS.
It's a travesty and nightmare. I'd rather play on the Xbox controller. But it's okay.
All right, go.
Moving on.
We got a lot to cover.
Yep, we have a lot to cover. Moving on, we have the Nintendo Pro Switch controller. The Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Isn't that bad? So the Switch Pro controller, which I personally want to throw that right into a healthy A tier. I would almost actually even argue S tier on this controller, because I actually think this is just a very strong, classic, ideal controller setup now. Like, it's kind of like everything's been one and done. They know the good handles.
So the first controller to do this setup, would you say, was the Xbox 360 controller?
Yeah, with this type of fatness, I guess I would say so. I would say technically the DualShock was the first thing to do like the big handles like this, like the two handle style. I would say, but obviously this follows the Xbox 360 and Xbox stick format.
I mean the specific layout where the analog stick at the top left, analog stick at the bottom right.
Yes, the
Xbox bottom left, buttons top
yeah.
right, and then bumpers or triggers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, I have Switch wired controllers, which are kind of modeled after the Pro controller somewhat. I've actually never used a Switch Pro controller.
Ooh, big oof, dude. You should definitely look into that. You would love it. So
I've heard that they're really good. Other than, personally, I look at it and the design doesn't look that cool to me. It doesn't, I don't know. I'm sure I would like it if I held it, but the wired controllers I use are much, much better than the Joy-Con.
Exactly. So that's what I was saying. That's like one of the I think one of the reasons why it's so good is that it has the gyroscope in it. Like, it has enough things for all the normal features of games on the Switch to feel good. It's just even better, in my opinion.
Okay.
On a Pro controller compared to the Joy-Cons.
Why don't we put it in A tier? Because
that's what I think. I think A tier.
Okay, I'm not comfortable putting it in S tier because at least with the PS5, I've heard rave reviews and specific things about it. I haven't heard anything specific that's fantastic about the Switch Pro controller.
Okay, fair enough. I could agree to that.
So that's an A. So what's the next one?
Yep. The next one is the PSV, the PlayStation Vita, which this is my wheelhouse. All right. So this is
refer to your judgment on this one.
So this is strong bias. I'm a huge Sony fanboy. We've gone over this. I'm a big Japanese fuck. Like, Sony fanboy.
A big Japanese fuck.
That's what I am. All right. So personally, I think the PlayStation Vita, very, very strong controller. I don't think it's God tier. I think it's honestly A or B tier in my opinion. But the Vita actually improved so hard on the PSP. But so the biggest thing I like about it, especially in a handheld, is the shape and the feel of the controller is very good. Especially for somebody like me, I actually have pretty long fingers. I got these long Schlenda button pressing fingers. And so some controllers for me, I have a whole wrap around when I grab the handles of things, or especially on a handheld when it's really tiny. I literally on the SP, for example, most people probably could do this. I comfortably poke my index fingers together on the back of the SP because it's just tiny enough that my hands just reach right over it. Yeah. So I love the shape of the Vita. The two touchscreens it has, very rounded. The two touchscreens it has on it. There's a back touchscreen which is split in half, so you have two extra buttons on the back that you can tap. So if you're playing a gun game, you double tap to reload.
Wait,
and
that sounds incredibly. I've never played a PS Vita. I played a PSP. That sounds like something that would interfere really bad. How do you not touch it by accident?
So because what it is that the touches are like double tap inputs or tap and hold inputs. So if you just have your hands resting on the back of it, it won't do anything. But if you double tap the back left quadrant of it, or you double tap the back right quadrant of it, or you tap at the same time and you press and hold it, it'll do it. But it's one of those ones where it's a pressure-based one. So if you rest your hands on it and you're playing, even if you move your hands around, it doesn't actually activate it. You have to, like, it's a pretty good conscientious, you have to activate it.
For someone, like, what if you're getting really into it and you just move your hands a lot when you're gaming, or you need to readjust your grip a lot?
Well, so that's the thing. Like it really didn't interfere in terms of that. Because most of the buttons that it was more the... Like, it was a replacement for very niche things. It wasn't like in most games you weren't pressing that more than, once in a system of button inputs. Like, you weren't really, like, there wasn't a game where you'd always be pulling that, using that touchscreen button all the time. It'd be like a little thing that you're doing, like maybe like an option for like an options menu or something like that.
Okay. So
personally, I want to throw it. I want to throw it in A tier, but I don't know, man. It's a comfy one, but I mean, I'll put it in B tier.
Yeah, let's do B.
All right,
okay.
I'll put it in B tier.
A tier, like, are any handhelds? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I can't. It's hard for me to weigh in.
Game Boy Advance, I think, is an A tier. Handheld.
We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah,
but
we'll get there.
We'll
get there when we get there.
It's got 2 analog sticks or circle pads, but
it does, yeah.
And I feel like those typically don't work well on handhelds because you have to shrink them down to fit with the design of the console, and I feel like naturally most people's thumbs, like, you can only extend the circle pads so far until your thumb starts to slip. Is that an issue with the Vita?
Actually, that's a fair point. I could definitely see that being a fair point to it. It's definitely better than the PSP thumbstick that it had. Yeah. But the Vita, yeah, you are right. Just because of how tiny it is, it definitely is limited in its like comfortability for that. So that's a pretty fair point. So I can see it. I think with that, I can see it at B tier.
B sounds good, though.
I can see it at B tier.
All right, what's the next one?
All right, so the next one is going to be the Game Boy Advance. We got there. Look at that. Awesome. So personally, I already spoiled my answer. I think this is an A tier handheld. Perfect sizing. It was the classic simple AB buttons back then. So, which is it's almost to its credit because it just didn't have an opportunity to overcomplicate things and fuck it up. But the texture of the buttons, the size of the buttons, the feel was amazing. The D-pad felt very comfortable to do things really quickly on, like playing Super Mario Star Saga and stuff like that. The shoulder buttons were amazing. I love the left and right buttons.
Good.
Love the left and right buttons on the GBA. Dude. And then also just the color is top tier in the original Game Boy Advance. I'm sorry. It's not where I really should be talking about that because it's the feel, but the color though, bro, is so good.
What? We actually haven't even factored that in. I guess it's too late, so now we can't factor that in, but colors would be a cool color options.
It would be, but there's like so many. Especially nowadays. There's so many custom controller colors. You know what I mean? It's so hard to do. But yeah, personally, I'm saying A. You can agree to disagree.
I'm debating God tier.
Oh my god! I'd throw it right there right now.
The thing with the Game Boy Advance is that you grab a Game Boy Advance, your fingers are exactly where they need to be. If you pick it up and put it in your hands, your fingers are on the shoulder buttons, your thumbs are exactly on the D-pad and on the A and B buttons. And like you said, for those games, even though this isn't about the games, but you only need those buttons and they are right at your disposal. So the only reason I'm not confidently saying God tier is because the buttons feel really good on a new Game Boy Advance, but I feel like they are kind of prone to a little bit of the squishy soft factor over the years.
I could agree with that. That is definitely kind of the dark side.
Do you think that's enough to throw it down in great tier, or do you think it's okay in God tier?
Oh no, this is my nepotism child. I would definitely say that little Timmy's doing perfect, and I would say I would still say God tier. To be honest,
let's do it then. God tier.
I would throw God tier onto the Game Boy Advance. I love that. I love the feel of that.
I don't know what we're gonna use our don't argue with me picks on. Was that actually this recording or last recording? We're doing that same thing.
Yeah, we are, yes. One big veto or trump card.
Yes. We each get one.
Yep. All right, so next we have is the original oldest controller we're talking about on this list, the NES controller, the Nintendo Entertainment System controller. Okay. So I kind of want to slap this right into the C tier because it kind of stinks you being the flag mark thing. You gotta fall before you walk, and I get that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the square off design it's actually pretty uncomfortable to hold this controller.
It is,
not gonna lie.
For an extended period of time, yeah.
For an extended period of time.
So
most speedrunners now do this like weird vertical pinch thing. They do like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Instead of actually holding it like this, they like go this weird V shape with their hands.
Bottom, right?
Yeah, exactly, from the bottom, and they angle their hands out.
It's kind of a shame because I actually think the buttons feel really cool on this. It really is just that rectangle, those sharp corners really was not designed to be held in soft fleshy hands for an extended period of time, which it's kind of a bummer. But that being said, it's still the classic. The buttons are fine. It's not what were you thinking, but it's definitely not
it's aight. Yeah, it's not top tier. Although let me tell you, it's a really good controller to swing by the cord and hit your little brother with. Let me tell you, when you're having a fight,
that thing could draw blood.
Yeah, that thing would hook your ankles, dude, and pull you out like Scorpion. But yeah, I would say I would throw it right in C tier. In C tier.
Let's go next one. Move on. That was a quick one. That was a good one.
That was a quick one. It's okay. It was a good one. The N64. Ooh. So okay.
You go. I want to hear what you have to say about the N64 controller.
So I was afraid you were going to say this. All right. So, honestly, I think it was an over-ambitious design that is actually, now that nostalgia has finally faded from my brain, it's honestly a piece of shit.
A piece of shit? All right.
It's not what were you thinking, but it's definitely, to me, it's a C tier controller. Okay. Hear me out.
Okay, all right, you fine, you go.
Okay, because you didn't want me to go first. That's all I'm saying. So first off, all right, I'm not sure if you know this. The average human being typically has two hands. Okay, two hands. All right, let me tell you that. I'm not sure if you knew that. If you look at your left hand and then your right hand, there's not a third auxiliary hand on the back like a spare tire on a Hummer. So therefore, having three random ass prong handles, looking like the end of a fork for a controller shape, it's not that ideal. I get the idea it was for left-handed grip or right-handed grip, but all games had the left-handed movement or options with the D-pad for a lot of games, and there was the weird joystick in the middle, so sometimes it'd be really awkward to play things like Donkey Kong 64, where you do other things, and it was really weird. Lastly, although I love the buttons I love the AB buttons in the 64, which is why it's in the I would say C tier, but the listen, so the big thing about the N64 is the amount of blistering that my thumbs got from playing on the 64 for a long period of time.
Those joysticks
jamming that controller, that joystick is a murder on your hands.
Nintendo was sued for Mario Party, the first one, because of the rotate the stick games. People would use their palms and go wicked fast and literally blister up their hands.
Yes, exactly. But it's
the N64 control.
You can't just give it credit because of the games because that you
it's
played
so
on
No,
it.
Because it's an iconic controller. The look of it is
the look of it is iconic.
I wasn't going into this thinking I was going to be defending the N64 controller. I thought I was going to be the one talking negatively about it because you're right.
The button pressing enthusiast here.
Hear me out. You're right in that it's a little bit. All right, maybe you guys probably should have thought about this more. But do I regret it having worked at Nintendo myself and made the choices of putting this out? No, I don't, because I was there, and it's iconic.
You were not there. Let's get one thing straight.
I designed this controller, and I'm personally offended that you don't like it.
I'm so happy that you're offended. It makes my decision even easier.
See,
no, but all right,
PC? Can we put it in D?
I would.
No, hold on. Let me think about it. Give me a second to think about it, because you're just bombarding me and getting me defensive when I was going to shit on it a little bit.
Okay, so yeah, so all right, so the only thing that I give credit for, but they did it better when they finally brought it back in the nunchuck, is the design of the middle stick and the Z controller. The Z trigger feels really good in that game for like GoldenEye and stuff like that. I'll give you that.
Okay,
but again,
so
the issue is
I've
never had a controller more in my life that I had to fucking pick up my hands and shift the controller back and forth to do certain things.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, it's like I'm playing a freaking Bop It, okay? I do not want to play a Bop It as my video
Twisted,
game controller.
D-pad,
Okay?
Z button.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh,
and
but
also
it's the
just to
N64
snipe you one last time, just to call you out with your own thing. You, Mr. I don't like things in a lateral line. You got a 2x3 of buttons with the C stick and the A and the B. Okay?
No, it's not the same because the way
it's not the same.
No, it is not the same because this is perfectly ergonomically designed. Whether you are holding it in the full left prong, right prong, or whether you're holding it right prong, middle prong, your hands conform to those prongs perfectly. So your thumbs, you only have to rotate it a certain amount to hit any of those C pad buttons or the A and B. And when you're holding the middle prong, your thumb and index finger are directly on. Like it was designed in a good way. It's just that for some reason they thought, hey, 3 prongs. That's the weird thing.
Listen, I can see you trying to defend.
No. Because look,
the girl you had a crush on.
Give me a sec. Right now you're holding it right next to NES controller. The NES controller is a perfect example of a not ergonomically designed controller. Think of holding those two in your hands right now. The N64 controller, yes, it's a pain in the ass, but it feels good.
Okay, all right. That's a pretty solid point. Okay, all right. I'll put it in B. I could actually with that I could argue it to B. I can't put it in A. It's not a great tier controller.
No, it's not.
I could get. All right, it's good. I could give it a good. I'll give it a GUD.
Yes, I brought it up to good.
You fought for that, my dude.
I did. I'm surprised. I wasn't expecting to.
I could tell. I can really tell. Moving on. So now we have the Xbox wireless controller, which is the Xbox One, the Xbone controller. Which is kind of like, the modern age Xbox 360 controller. Something I also, just so you guys know, for any of you crazy freaking SCUF nerds, we're not doing SCUF controllers, by the way, as well. I'm just doing classic controllers. I don't know if you know what SCUF controllers are, Corey.
No.
It's like the super Call of Duty. They have paddles on the back controllers where you could 360 no-scope, snipe, swap, all that crazy stuff.
Sure.
And also, we're not doing the Xbox super duper elite $180 controller. Like, I'm talking about the one that comes with the console when you start out with it. Personally, I think Xbox controllers, until the PS5, have always felt better in the hands. Compared to PlayStation counterparts. So honestly, Xbox, I think it's an A tier, but that's just me.
A or B for me. The reason I see it, I have used it, I felt it in my hands, and for some reason I'm only thinking that's a good controller. What is there about it? I could be swayed to put it in A. I just can't really think of anything that's really great about it.
So the first thing I would say is the
wait a minute, it does have voice control in it, doesn't it?
It has voice control. Cool. The quality of the buttons is really good. The triggers are really good. I feel like you haven't played on an Xbox controller enough since the 360 days, but do you remember, let me paint a picture in your head. Do you remember playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2? It's Christmas. You just got a fresh Xbox 360 controller. Okay. You're in a loading screen. You're in a loading screen. It's loading up like Favela or something, okay? And you're just sitting there talking to your friends on Xbox Party, and you're just rotating your thumb really quickly around your new joystick, and you like that buttery smooth feeling of the Xbox control stick. The Xbox wireless one always does that. It always feels that way for so long. And I loved it for that. Because you've also had your Xbox 360 controller that you could kind of shake it and wiggle it and it would twerk for you a little bit because it got so loose on the top.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that nearly as much. Like, it's actually it's like a heavy, not weighty.
I know
if
what
that makes sense.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's solid.
It's solid,
right,
very solid.
A tier.
Okay, gotcha. Perfect. Yeah.
That's fine.
The story brought it home, boys.
All right.
So, all right, guys. So the next one we have is going to be the PlayStation 4 controller, the DualShock 4.
How's that one?
So I'm actually a little cross on it. So I think it stinks because I think this is like kind of a key. I think the controller got too skinny, to be honest with you. It's a little awkward, I think, to hold. Honestly, it's really not that bad. I think I'm actually nitpicking it, but I think compared to its Xbox counterpart, it's a little skinny in the middle. But I really like the touchpad on it. I really like the triggers and the way the triggers are.
I'm not a big fan of the touchpad in the middle.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, I don't.
Interesting.
I feel like it's weird.
I like that it's a side by side pause. I think it's just because it's like I like the PS Vita thing. It's the same kind of touchscreen, but this one's a lot more sensitive. I just like the half button press you can do, and then you also can kind of like slightly draw on it. Although I guess what's annoying about these is that you can sometimes accidentally trace a little bit, and like if you're on like a web page, it'll just like wildly flick your mouse. So, honestly, let's
go good.
I would say I could go good tier. I would say B good tier. All right, so guys, so the next controller is going to be the Wii U gamepad.
So,
that's how I feel. I hate this fucking thing, though. To be honest,
I don't.
So it was an awesome controller. Listen, my big thing that I don't like about this thing is that the fact that Nintendo did not sell this thing separately, and the fact that you had to buy a whole other console if you wanted another one drives me nuts. I'm not sure if you knew that. Did you know that?
Yeah.
So mine broke very quickly, okay? And I had to go my entire Wii U life without having a gamepad. I only used a Wiimote to turn everything on. So because it wouldn't charge, I emailed Nintendo, and back then I had to pay to get it repaired. They wouldn't repair it. They wanted me to pay like $70 to get it repaired. And then I was like, I'm just going to buy a new one. And literally, you can't. They don't sell them separately. No GameStop sells them separately. Nobody does, except for eBay, which is people usually sell their broken ones online because they don't want them. And it was just very frustrating. But otherwise, like the actual gamepad, honestly, is actually pretty top tier and fire. I actually like the setup and everything.
There's a lot. It's so weird because like if we're talking,
it's kind of big though.
It is. It's clunky. It's chonky. So a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people criticize it for feeling like it's like Fisher-Price cheapo kids toy plastic. And I kind of actually like the way that the triggers feel. I like the way that the buttons feel, but it's also it's a little awkward. I do like it's got the extra little lumps on the back to kind of help, because it's not, if you were just holding like a round corner rectangle pad in your hands, that would kind of be a pain in the ass after a while. But the fact that they gave it those little lumps on the back made it a little more ergonomic, made it a little more comfortable. And also the gamepad had like a TV button and some other weird buttons, and like, I don't know. I do like that this is something that you tend to see on just newer aged controllers, but it has like the power button on the controller. So that's pretty cool that you don't have to go up to the console to turn it on. And that's true. When the gamepad came out, like that wasn't new. It had already been around for like at least a generation. But I still think it's kind of cool. Conceptually, I think it's interesting. Again, this is something that, and this bleeds into the games and the game design of the Wii U. The Wii U didn't have a lot of third-party support, so it was really only first-party. Well, honestly, it didn't even have a great lineup as it is. It didn't even have a great first-party lineup, so that concept of having a screen in your hands was very, very underutilized, unfortunately. But
yeah, I agree.
On the flip side of that, like playing something like Wind Waker HD, any Zelda game, Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD, it's fantastic because it takes some things that are trivial in that game, like inventory management and minimaps and stuff, and it basically dedicates that entire controller, that second screen you have a minimap in your hands, and you can just drag with your finger to control your inventory, and that is a really cool method of doing that, I think.
That's pretty true. Okay, I could see that. I could definitely see that being nicer. So I guess But see, like, I almost don't know if I want to put it in good tier though.
I don't. Yeah, I'm okay. Not. I don't know. I
think
know.
I think it's
It's
an
aight.
ed to I think it's aight to mid tier. Honestly, I gotta give Joy-Cons an edge though. I think Joy-Cons are better. You know, this isn't ordered. I said this isn't ordered. I'm
Yeah.
kind of ordering it in my head as I do it because I'm just being weird.
Yeah. I do that too, even if it's not ordered.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just so we're not
But-
tied down to exactly where we put it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I could feel more comfortable.
So that's C. The gamepad, the Wii U gamepad is C.
It's gonna
Also-
be a C tier.
Not great battery life.
Not great battery life at all. Actually, very true. Battery life trash. All right. So next is going to be the Game Boy Advance SP, which is not as good as its old counterpart. Listen, guys, the sequel is not as good as the original in this
Dude.
one.
Okay, you know what?
It's good. It's good. I'm not. I guess all I'm saying is it's not god tier in my opinion. I think it's
Okay.
great tier actually. I think it's
Okay,
great tier
all right.
because
I'm okay with great. I'm okay with great.
What's funny about me complaining about the buttons before? So what I like about this better, just so you know, is that with the little groove recess that the buttons have, it gives you more actuation to press down, which is
Yeah.
why I like them better. For anyone that might be paying attention to my button ranting, I'm okay with the buttons on this one in particular. I also like this is one of the first ones that had the light up screen. Loved the SP. Played a lot of SP games.
Yeah, the
or
light
not
up
SP
screen,
games, but
that's
like
not,
you know.
that's the console. That unfortunately that we can't.
Oh, you're
affect
right.
that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But-
You're right. I'm sorry. Just an honorable shout
But
out then.
I love the way the SP buttons feel. They're clicky, but they're nice and crisp. I can't tell you how many times I've just mashed the L and R buttons on my SP just because it's so clicky and it feels so goddamn good. The only thing
feels
holding this
really
back
good.
from God tier for me is that it's not ergonomic. It's just it's a square. So
It's a square.
holding it for a
big
long
square.
and also, if you have really, really long, big hands, I could see this being a pain. I don't really have big hands. I have regular size hands. I have regular little baby boy sized hands. So this
Excuse
feels
you.
fine in my hands.
Listen, I have these long, dexterous fingers.
Yeah.
And definitely, like, I have to do this kind of, like, reserved, proper, prim, pinched grip sometimes. I have to, like, kind of hold it farther back so I don't, like, literally mesh my hands like this when I'm playing. So but yeah, I would put it in great tier. I personally put it in great tier.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Next
right,
one.
easy. Next,
I love it.
indeed.
Yeah. See, now I don't even
So-
know what I'm gonna use my my.
Yeah, honestly, I might even need to. It's there. It's just there if you need it. Oh, so all right. Next is the SNES controller, and I don't know if I'm just this is mine to like good nostalgia vibes. I actually love this controller. Honestly, I actually love it a lot. The only thing I don't like about it is that it had the really thin plasticky feeling where like I don't know if you've ever like hard pressed a tiny controller like that, like and you like kind of turn your hands a little bit as you're pressing it.
Yeah.
I feel like I could snap the thing in half if I do that enough times, and that's the feeling I didn't
That's
like
fair.
about it. Also, I think they probably did it because they were trying not to look exactly like the Genesis controller at the time, but the little humps on the bottom to make handles is way too shallow, and that was my
It
only
is.
two complaints about the controller. Otherwise, I like them. I even like the pill-shaped start buttons, which normally I don't like, but those actually weren't that bad.
I think this
And
is-
love the color scheme of the original one with the buttons, with the gold, with the yellow, blue, green, red. I love that. It's so
even
good.
though, you know what? I think I like this better than the Genesis controller, because even though the Genesis controller was sort of the inspiration for the ergonomic design, it's pretty thick. And while I do see what you're saying about like the kind of thin plasticky feeling, but the SNES controller, I feel like it's a nice width where it's like a perfect like finger width. So your finger wraps around that curve very nicely to hit the shoulder buttons.
I agree.
Other than that, I think it's just a standard. I would say good. I'd say B tier.
Yeah,
It's just
I think
a
so
good
too.
controller.
Yeah, I
Nothing,
think so as
nothing
well.
crazy special, but not bad. Good, solid, good controller.
Solid good. All right, cool. All right, so next is going to be the original PlayStation 1 controller.
Do you want to go
And
first?
so-
You want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll go for this one. So again, kind of like what I was saying about older controllers, it's like almost hard for me to actually put this higher than it really needs to be. I think this is a good controller. I think this is another B tier controller. Honestly, this is one of the ones that I really liked the button pressing of all of them. This is the meat and potatoes of my nostalgia Just saying. Like, I played a lot of PlayStation 1 games, obviously played a lot of PlayStation 2 games as well, but I really just, the rubberized feel of the start and select buttons, let me tell you, feel fantastic. I love the trigger presses of the R1 and R2 buttons back then. Honestly, we were kind of debating it before. We were talking about, I actually am going to, I'm not including it with the DualShock and the toggle mode that the DualShock ends up having, because it's kind of more of a PS3 thing at this point in PlayStation 2. But I would put it in good tier. There's not much I would complain about it for its time. There really wasn't jarring flaws. It also was one of the first ones with the big long handly boy, besides an N64, and I just really like that. Felt really good.
I think that's fair. For some reason, I want to put it in C, but I don't really have a whole lot of reasons for that. I don't know. It kind of feels like a lot of controller for what it really is, but I guess that's fine. It does feel good to hold. I think there's just something about it that weirds me out, because I think I played a PS2 before I ever played a PS1. And so it kind of feels like, where the fuck are the analog sticks?
Yeah, that's fair. It
feels like something's missing.
It's because you just want to put your thumbs on something. Yeah. And you can't rest your thumbs anywhere.
No, you know what? I do think that kind of goes back to... So I do appreciate that they were kind of fully going in on, okay, let's design it as if these are going to be held by two hands. But maybe it's just me, but do your thumbs need to reach kind of a long way to get to the buttons?
Actually, kind of. I mean, I guess maybe not for Mr. Longhands over here, but yeah. I guess I could see some people probably getting annoyed at the press triangle button a lot, because you have to kind of twist your hand up when you press the triangle button like that. Yeah. So honestly, I'll put it at the top of C tier. It's better than Joy-Cons. I'm sorry. Okay. Nostalgia's going to beat it over Joy-Cons. That's fair. It doesn't break as much as Joy-Cons do, so...
C tier. That's good.
All right, C tier. Okay.
Let's keep going.
So next is going to be the Wii U Pro Controller. We're almost done, guys. The Wii U Pro Controller. So this is honestly just kind of the older version of pretty much what the Switch Pro Controller is. So I don't want to put it above the Switch Pro Controller. It's the same kind of thing, although the joysticks were both high up, which is a little weird.
Yeah.
It worked pretty well, though. It worked for the time, to be honest. It was a decent controller.
Actually love this controller.
Really?
I love the Wii U Pro Controller. It feels... I feel like...
I think you just missed your college days, and this is what you played in college.
I played a lot of GameCube in college. We haven't gotten there yet. I like that GameCube is being saved to last, but... the Wii U Pro Controller... I remember thinking at the time the only controller that really felt ergonomically designed better to fit my hands was either that or an Xbox 360 controller. Mm-hmm. Those two for me, and it's funny because they are almost the same controller. The main difference is that, like you said, the analog sticks are at the top for on both sides for the Wii U Pro Controller, and that does seem a little weird, but a lot of Wii U games do use dual stick functionality in terms of controls, because it kind of mirrors the gamepad, because that's how the gamepad... Wait. No. I'm wrong.
No, the gamepad was like that. The gamepad had the two. I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Does it have two on top?
Yeah. Yeah, on top.
Okay. So I know what I'm talking about. I'm smart.
Have some confidence, bud. Yeah. You were right. I was letting you go.
It mirrors the gamepad approach, but it's just a really solid ass controller. And I don't know. I don't think there's anything super flashy, or I don't know. I just think it's a super solid controller. I love the way it feels in my hands. I could never get tired of holding it. It just feels great to hold. I would put it in.
Do you think it's better than the Switch controller? Do you think the Switch controller was a downgrade?
Well, like I said,
haven't played it yet. You haven't really played it, so that's fair.
But just looking at them, I feel like I can guarantee that the Wii U Pro Controller feels better to hold.
Interesting. Okay.
It feels really good. It's nice and smooth, really smooth curves, and it's very ergonomically designed. The shoulder buttons, it's interesting because the triggers, they're kind of like aligned. You know how sometimes they like wrap around the back and go with the curve? They're kind of like flat on the top almost, but the area where you put your middle fingers below them is kind of shallow, so it doesn't feel very like it feels like you're pinching them almost rather than pulling them.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying.
I just think it's a great controller.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say, I think it's probably on par with the Switch Pro controller.
Okay. I could leave that to you. I could defer that to you. All right. Cool. So we are continuing on. We are almost done, guys. We got probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
handful.
Yeah, we got a handful. We got 7 more or so. All right. So next we have is the Wii Classic controller, which is pretty much the first iteration of a Pro controller, quote unquote, an additional controller in the Nintendo family, aside from the Wiimote. I think this thing is honestly a meh controller.
Yeah,
the joysticks are so close together to each other.
I was just gonna say.
It also
you have to reach your thumbs really far to get to both Joy-Cons.
Really deep into it, and then also the buttons didn't really feel like it when you were pressing them. If I remember correctly, were they the 1, 2, or is that X and Y over there? Weren't they
it's
1,
X
2?
and Y, I think.
Well, because I thought it was like the Wii, which it had the 1, 2. Oh no, it is X and Y. Never mind. It's X and Y.
That's actually what I have to play Brave Fencer Musashi on.
Oof. I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. It's been working all right.
Yeah, I guess you'll live. Yeah,
it doesn't feel great, but it's okay.
Yeah, the only thing I like though is they actually added little notches to the omnidirectional gamepad joystick.
Yeah.
Actually,
that's a carryover from the nunchuck.
Yeah, perfect. Well, we really haven't gotten time to talk about that, but yeah, you're right. It's like a thing from the nunchuck. That makes sense.
So I
would still put it in C tier. Yeah. All right. Okay, we're cruising. All right. So next is the PSP. So I personally love the PSP, but design wise, it could be the Vita improved on it so much. So I think honestly, the PSP's in C tier. I don't really want to put it in what we were thinking tier.
No, it definitely wasn't what were you thinking, because I do think the design is cool, and I don't think it's explicitly bad or stupid or anything like that.
It had one jarring flaw to me, which was the triggers. So the Vita kind of had this, but since they made the Vita wider, it eliminated this a little bit. So pretty much, if you're holding the controller, the issue was the way that the triggers were rounded. When you pressed it, you would press on the inside part of the trigger, not the tip of the trigger, to press them down with how your fingers naturally wrapped around it. So sometimes you would press down and your finger would get stopped by the metal housing of the actual PSP, and you almost had to bend your finger back to press the button down if you were fully gripped around it. The Vita fixed that because it got a little bit wider, and
sounds like a long finger problem.
Shut up. It might have been. But also the joystick is really weird. You could pinch yourself on the inside of the joystick because it was so thin to itself, and it would snap in. You know what I mean?
The joystick's really a little weird. That was my big thing with it. I didn't own one, but my cousin had one, so I played it quite a few times, and I remember the joystick being real weird.
Real weird. It had a really good textured thumb grip top, but it was really weird to use. So I would throw it in easy C.
Yeah, it's I to meh. That's fine.
Yeah, I to meh, exactly. All right, guys, we're
moving on.
Next, we have the Nintendo 3DS, the 3DS, which I think this is a good ass handheld.
Interesting.
I would put it in. I guess good ass makes it sound like I'm bringing it higher than I would want. I would put it at the bottom of A tier or the top of B tier, in my opinion.
I think this is worse than the original DS.
What?
Yeah. In terms of controller, I definitely.
Really?
This is what I was talking about. Well, this is directly what I was talking about when we were talking about the original DS, which is that it's a rectangle and there's not a lot of meat on them bones. So you have to do that. Even me with regular ass hands, you got to do that weird little contort your hands pinchy thing to kind of get the buttons right. And on top of that, it's got a smooth ass circle pad that if you're doing anything that requires a lot of movement or constant movement or holding it in one way, your thumb just slips off of it and it's all right, I gotta readjust again, all right, I gotta put it back. And it's
sounds like you have a case of sweaty thumbs, but actually,
honestly,
no,
I have
you're right.
Incredibly sweaty hands when I play. Why have we not talked about the sweat factor? That is so important when holding controllers.
The sweat factor is very important, but that's kind of what we talk about with the handles. But we have not talked about the sweat factor.
It's like you need to hold it delicately in your hands so that you don't. Yeah, I feel like it's. The trigger buttons are tiny.
The trigger buttons I don't like. You're right. I honestly see. I don't know. To me, I like the four buttons better than the original DS. I thought the D-pad felt better than the 3DS. I actually didn't mind the thumb pad, the joystick. But I guess maybe because I just got like tall boy thumbs. I guess maybe I was like reaching down and really like. I don't know.
Tall
like,
boy thumbs.
Yeah, like I was like like just arc it in like a crane game, and I could just be like moving around
from the vertical. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Meanwhile, that's the other thing. I don't have long fingers, and I have fat fingers. I have sausage ass fingers.
Shrek paws over here. My God, your fingers are saying, "Get out of my swamp."
But I definitely agree that I like the buttons for the stop.
I'm sorry.
Your fingers are saying, "Get out of my swamp."
Get out of my swamp. All right. So to be fair, I guess I don't know. I actually had a lot of good times with the 3DS, and I thought it was a pretty comfortable thing to play in bed. Like for me, this was an easy thing that I could sit under my covers, play for hours when I was supposed to be going to bed, going to school, and staying up playing, and I could play with it so comfortably.
This came out like late high school.
Exactly. Yeah. I understand.
You had to stay under your covers.
Oh my God! Yeah, are you kidding me?
Late?
I lived in a room, a solid room like Harry Potter, but I shared it with two other Harry Potters, my brothers. So if I didn't want to wake them up with my light, and then also just a randomly tangent, I apologize to my mom for all the times we kept her up. But like when we would all be doing that, and then we all could see our faces and stuff, we would just start talking at like 2 a.m. loudly about the games we were playing, and we would just wake my mom up, and she'd get so mad. So yeah, literally, just even at like my 16-year-old, 17-year-old self would hide under the 3DS covers, and I'd just be playing games all the time.
That's cool. See, that's what I remember doing with my Game Boy Advances.
I'm still a child at heart. Okay.
Where we could put it in good if you want. It's up to you, I guess.
Honestly, you kind of shit on it, and I kind of respect the passion you had behind shitting on it. I'm actually going to throw it in C tier for your passion.
Okay. But
now you're feeling guilty, it sounds like. It sounds like you want to bring it to B tier. Guilty. You're feeling a little guilty. Wow.
A little bit. Because it's like, I don't know. I don't...
All right, let's coin flip it.
No, give me a sec. I'm going to go grab my 3DS.
Oh my God.
Give me a sec. All right.
Please, by all means, play with it. Because also just saying, so the touchscreen's better. The touchscreen is definitely better than the old DS.
Sure.
It closes in a safer, more comfortable manner because the
upper
shell is concave. No, for the controller, having it break easily is a thing that I care about with controllers. So since it folds in on itself very nicely, and the concave top protects the rest of the buttons from being squished on, very important, versus the clamshell that snaps in half the second you breathe on it. It's a good size in terms of it's a good size to weight ratio.
Now, you know what?
Stylus is in a better spot as well.
I stand by my decision. It's aight to meh.
Aight to meh.
I'm holding it. There is no way to hold this perfectly comfortably. There is no way. Look at the width of my fingers on the top.
Yeah, that looks so comfortable.
No, my finger is wider by a solid margin than the width of this back. Because
if you stopped eating so many onions and having so many layers, it'd be fine.
I've got layers. These shoulder buttons are so tiny.
They really are,
and you put your finger on them, and my finger is literally overhanging the back of it.
That's true. Then you're probably rubbing you're rubbing the charger port, probably get like a little blister.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
This is, you know what else I'm realizing? Just because my hands are naturally sweaty right now, this is a nightmare for sweaty-handed people. My fingers are slipping all over these goddamn buttons.
Okay.
It's just like a slip and slide of buttons.
And with that, I'm put into a sweaty C tier then.
A sweaty C tier.
A sweaty C tier.
Let's keep going. We're rounding it up here.
we are almost done. So we got 5 left. Next is going to be the DualShock 3 controller, the PlayStation 3 controller. Pretty much this is just a love child step between what the PS1 is to what the PS4/5 is now. I think honestly it's just a very solid tier controller. Like I think it's just, one of the reasons why I think, I like both PS1 or PlayStation and Xbox did so good is because both controllers really were comfortable. They kind of just became standardized good decision making things on the controllers. Really good. I love the rubber on the thumbsticks. This is the weirdest description I'll ever give ever, but it's the same texture as like the dog nose, which sounds so weird, but you know what I'm talking about? Like a good boy nose. That's the type of texture it is, and I love that feeling. Joysticks. Yeah, good boy nose joysticks.
I love it.
A little bit more weighty with the rumble pad and the gyroscope inside of it, so it didn't feel like it was going to break as much like a PlayStation 1 might.
Yeah,
it has that kind of cheap
Big
inner
time.
plasticky feel, which was really good for that too.
Shoulder buttons feel fantastic.
Shoulder buttons felt great on that thing. Oh my god, that thing rocked. And also had the R3 L3, great addition.
Yes.
Great extra idea for a button. So good job on that.
Great.
A tier. But yeah, put it right in a great
I'm
A
with
tier. Cool. All right, guys. So we actually have some classics left. I can't believe we haven't gotten to it yet. This is wild.
Boy.
The original Game Boy is the next one we're going to talk about.
So you didn't. It's fine because we can just rank them as. We'll just do the original
I did not
Game
put
Boy.
I did not do Game Boy Color. I
think it stands. I think it is important to distinguish because they do feel different, but we don't really need to have both of them on this tier list.
Because I feel like the biggest changes from the Game Boy to the Game Boy Color was more of a console change in additions, not necessarily the controller scheme and layout. I guess the shell did change a tiny bit.
It's just a little less clunky with the Game Boy Color, but that's not. It's just smaller, so that's not. It's fine. We can still just do the Game Boy.
I think the Game Boy itself is a C tier. It's like a meh. It's just one of the things where I think it was just a little. It's just the handheld version of the NES. It's too clunky. It's like unfortunately it's too skinny but clunky.
Yes,
it's thick but skinny.
That's the thing I feel like there's an actual reason for this. You're holding a vertical rectangle, but your thumbs need to stay in one place. So that means if you even slightly let go of your grip, the controller is going to slide down your hands and your thumbs are going to be too high up just because of the nature of the controller. So that's like things like the Game Boy Advance, that's impossible because the way that you hold it, it's staying exactly in place. And that's a really
It's like webbing into the bottom of your palm.
Exactly. But the Game Boy, the original Game Boy, especially if you're holding it straight up, if you let go of your grip even slightly, your thumbs are going to be out of place. And I feel like that's not a great design for a controller.
I agree. I pretty much agree with all of that. Yeah. Again, I think it's almost just to its defense. Like, if I could give it like Game 3 tips from commentary on Smash, you're just clunky, man. You just got to work on some stuff. But you were the first one, so we get it, Nintendo.
Yep.
But all right, yeah, cool. Next one, we got 3 left, guys. Xbox 360. This is an iconic controller for all of the Modern Warfare gamers out there. Honestly, so I like no cap want to put it in God tier.
I do too.
I think mostly. Thank God.
God tier. Hell yeah.
It's honestly a God tier controller because so pretty much the PS3 was also just as good, but the feel of an Xbox controller, it was a thick boy in a good way. It felt so good.
I feel like this is one of the perfect
so good.
ergonomically designed controllers. It just feels so great to hold. Like you were saying,
the super rounded buttons and the ball buttons, really, really,
it's just
really nice.
The way whoever was working on the textures and the exact curvature of the buttons and of the joysticks and stuff, it's just so comfortable, and everything is so satisfying. The triggers are great. Clicking the joysticks in is great. Just rolling the joysticks around is great. The buttons are great. Top tier.
It's great. It's just great. Honestly, I think it's a God tier controller.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Easy. Moving on.
Easy. Moving on. I cannot believe that we did that. The Wiimote at the last controller. I can't believe we're saving it for last. It's wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So the Wiimote, and this is the Wiimote we're talking about it with the nunchuck attachment. You can talk about it both ways. So
yeah.
Honestly, I don't know if I don't know, man. I actually loved kind of like the Joy-Con thing. I think it's better than a Joy-Con because I like the ingenuity and the ideas they wanted to do with it, but I just don't think they executed it as well as they could have. Mostly because that sensor was messed up, man.
Well, okay. Yeah, But do you fault the controller for that? Because
That's a good
is
point.
It
It's kind of one of the sensor
bar?
bars. It's kind of the sensor
Well,
bars.
I do
fault,
feel
yeah.
like the controller. I don't know, because if there were better technology in the controller, then it would be better. But at the same time, that's just a product of the times. So I am also very torn. The big thing that I want to point out with the Wiimote is that I think by and large, when you're using it for motion control stuff, it works well. And I think having the nunchuck as a peripheral, the nunchuck feels really good, especially to roll
does
around
feel really good
because of those
Yes.
notches. I think that feels really good. I think the Z button, the C button on it is stupid. I don't know why that's there, but the Z
C button trash, Z
Yeah.
button good.
the
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
My big thing though is that a lot of games that you play on the Wii require you to turn the controller sideways and use the D-pad as the D-pad and use the 1 and 2 buttons.
And it hurts. It hurts my thumbs, dude. It's so skinny.
That's
like
not,
for me. I have to like.
yeah,
Oh,
that
it's so.
doesn't
It's
feel
not
good.
comfortable.
It's just
and like the B button becomes so weird because you're
yeah,
holding it sideways,
yes, exactly.
and you have to
Very
like press
true.
it with your finger like this. Like it's so weird. Yeah, really,
That's
really
something that I
uncomfortable.
feel like they thought about a little bit more with Joy-Cons, because Joy-Cons do the same thing, and the Joy-Cons do still have detriments on that front, because if you turn it sideways,
the Z, L, and ZR buttons are really tiny.
they do suck. Well, unless you have the attachments, which it does come with it.
You're right. It does come with
But
it. Yeah.
like even when you do that, because of the way they're positioned, you either have to reach really far for the D-pad or really far for the joystick, depending on which Joy-Con you're holding, because there's a big buffer from the bottom. So
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, honestly, actually, with your description of how bad it is sideways,
You
I
think
kind of want
C?
to put it into C tier. I think
Okay.
that's a C tier.
that's fine.
I think it's a C tier. Honestly, it's like it's above. It's there. It's right there.
That's
right there.
that's fine. That's
it's,
fine.
it's right there. Yeah. All right. So the last controller we have, I can't believe we didn't get to it. I get to talk about the worst made controller on the planet. This is my one thing I'm putting right into a D tier. What were you thinking?
No, you're lying.
Absolutely the shittiest thing I've ever had in my life. And I've touched this controller more than anything ever.
No,
the
you
GameCube
are
controller
lying.
is the worst poorly made thing.
This
Not
is a
single
joke,
one
right?
No, not a single one is made in the same way. There is a chance that the shoulder springs will be different. There is a chance that the directional gate is not a true north, true east, true west, true south. The
You're
button layout
fucking
is
kidding
horrible.
me, right?
Yeah, I'm totally kidding.
Oh,
yeah.
thank
No,
God! I was like, oh my, because, oh my God, you totally had me there, because this is GameCube controllers are amazing. They're the best.
I love. So I mean, yeah. All right. So
God
actually,
tier.
some of the things I was talking about, I'm actually so serious on from a Smash Bros. So from a Smash player's perspective, the GameCube controller is amazing because obviously I play on it all the time. But in terms of an actual controller and the actual technology that goes to building it, it's actually really bad. I don't know. I actually should link you a
I have
video on
heard-
how bad the GameCube controller is when it comes to Melee and Project M in general. Like, actually, I'm going to link you a video.
Okay,
and, if
yes.
you ever watch it,
That's fair, and I understand that. Well, I even from Melee, from my minimal experience in competitive Melee, I understand that a lot of times they need to get their GameCube controllers like special ordered and stuff to make sure that they are actually working properly. And there are a lot of knockoff GameCube controllers that don't function great at all.
You're
either.
right. And so the reason why I actually totally agree that it's a god tier controller is because if we're just talking about the controller in terms of how it feels, how it plays on anything else
Yes.
but a precision game like Melee, I would 100% agree. Like I said, I'm just more memeing because I know the struggles of finding a good GameCube controller.
No, I do feel that. I do feel that.
But honestly, yeah, I would easily throw this right to the freaking toppity top.
Yeah, there's
Love the controller,
there's a
love the
reason
feel of the
that
controller.
even nowadays they are producing GameCube controllers for the Switch, and that's because people fucking love GameCube controllers.
Dude, the triggers. If we're talking about triggers, ultimate
That
triggers.
clackety clack,
down.
baby. Oof.
The clackety clack. The C stick feels good, which is wild. You never think it would.
It's just a little guy hanging down there, but it feels good.
Control stick feels good. I love the bigger A button, tinier B
Yes,
button.
so that's something.
Honestly, weirdly but perfectly shaped X and Y buttons.
That's something that I really, really want to touch on, and this is something that I've heard people complain about, and I think this is genius controller design because, like you said, ergonomically, this fits perfectly into your hands. Your fingers are conforming perfectly to the grooves of the L and R buttons. Your middle fingers and your all other fingers following curve perfectly around the backs of those handles, and your thumb is resting perfectly on that big fat A button. The genius thing about this is that if you want to use B, Y, or X, you don't really need to move your hand. You just need to roll your thumb in one direction. And that's why
so smart.
I feel the Y and the X curving around the A button like that, it makes so much sense.
It makes so much sense.
You just got to roll, and because they're wide, you don't have to worry about hitting a perfect circle. You just got to roll and mash whichever button you want to.
Yeah, so the only thing I don't like about the Nintendo GameCube controller is the Z button. The Z button's very inconsistent. A good Z button, amazing. A mediocre Z button, trash. Like sometimes you don't get a press down feeling on it because like I'm not sure if you've ever opened up a GameCube controller, but the way that the Z button trigger is horrible. Okay, so it's like the little button shell, that blue button shell right there. Okay, and so this sounds weird, but so right here, there's
like a stem,
the Y.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a stem that presses down. So what's weird is the button to press down and activate Z is right above the Y. Where you press it is on the opposite side of the Z button, which pulls the pin down to hit it.
Yeah.
So it's so much more force required for no reason. One of the weird things about the GameCube controller. But that's such a tiny thing. Regardless, I love it.
I do also wish
design's amazing.
I also wish the D-pad felt a little better when you press it. I think it's a little soft, but
yeah,
it's
all right,
okay.
Let's throw it into D tier. What were you thinking? It's fucking disgusting. No. Yeah,
that's S tier. That's an S tier controller if I've ever seen one.
I think so too.
All right, ladies and gents. Well, we're here. We did it. We have a full ass tier list. No, don't save it yet because we need to.
Oh, you're actually right.
Neither of us have used our one thing. So if we each want to move one, now's the time.
That's true.
So now, in S tier, we have the GameCube controller, the PS5 controller. What's that called?
The DualSense. We have the Game Boy Advance controller. We have Xbox 360 controller. In A, great tier, we have the Game Boy Advance SP. We have the Wii U Pro controller. We have the Switch Pro controller. We have the Xbox One controller. We have the DualShock 3. Yep, PS3 controller. Yes, DualShock 3. Apparently, it was also called the 6-axis apparently at a point, like the first version of it. But then the DualShock 3 actually came out, and that was like the real one. So,
and that's also kind of bundled with the DualShock 2, the PS2 controller.
Yeah, I believe so. Yep, correct.
Good tier.
Yep.
You want to do it, Ryan?
Yeah, so in the good tier, we have the SNES controller, we have the N64 controller, we have the PlayStation 4, the DualShock 4 controller, the original Sega Genesis controller, and the PlayStation Vita. In the C, the 8 to meh tier, we have the PlayStation 1 controller, the Joy-Cons, the 3DS, the Wiimote, the normal DS, the original Game Boy, the original NES controller, the Wii Classic controller, and the PSP handheld. And then lastly, the D What Were You Thinking controller. There's only one that was honestly disgustingly bad.
Yeah.
It throws up in my mouth every time I look at it. It's an abomination on games everywhere. And honestly, it was just because Microsoft just started doing shit.
Yeah.
It's the original Xbox controller is not a pretty controller. Not a pretty console either. It's gross. Yeah. It's really gross, man.
Really
It's not cool at all.
All right.
It looks like how I would imagine the Game Sphere if it was a real thing from Drake and Josh.
I'm sure
how,
even the Game Sphere had a cooler controller. But it doesn't look like that. It looks like, you know what it looks like? It looks like if a movie producer... No, you're exactly right. It looks like if a TV producer...
You're welcome.
If a TV producer was assigned with make what you think a
controller
controller from a video game, an edgy video game looks like.
It literally looks like how in iCarly they had the Pear phones instead of the Apple iPhones.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it looks like.
It looks like a shitty knockoff caricature of a video game controller.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's fucking disgusting.
All right, so Ryan, this is a pretty solid tier list, but neither of us have used our one change. So, is there any one that you want to change right now?
I honestly, I would defer to you first if there's anything that you want to change, because I feel like you've been talking about me a lot, and I think this is our podcast, so I think you should go.
Let's see. I feel like
you don't have to. You don't have to use the veto. You don't have to call down your power of God, your Zeus's lightning bolt, and smite somebody. You don't have to, or you could just.
Yeah, I feel weird that there's only one controller in What Were You Thinking, but I can't think of any that I want to add in there. This is something that I said last recording. One controller you left off because neither of us have a ton of experience with it is the Sega Dreamcast controller. That thing's disgusting. I would have put that in D tier.
I would have put that in What Were You Thinking tier as well, but honestly we didn't add it. It's honestly it's an F tier. It's a fail.
You know what my one change is gonna be?
What's that?
Just to spite you a little bit, and just because I don't think it makes sense being there, I want to put PS Vita in C tier.
Oh,
just one lower. It's not. Wow, I don't think it's lower. Good. Not good.
Fantastic, because I lied to you. This is all about me. The reason why I made you go first is so you can't counteract this choice when I move the GameCube controller down to the D tier, because I'm actually passionate about how shitty it is. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Honestly, so I actually don't have much quipes or quarrels with this.
This is a good tier list.
Honestly, so you know what? Actually, I do have. I'm gonna pull up my lightning bolt, and I'm gonna actually smite something from you too. I'm actually gonna bump the N64 controller down to C tier because it honestly. It's the 3-prong, man. The 3-prong does not. I can't make it good with 3 prongs. No, listen. Let's put it this way: no other controller even attempted to re-mimic that. Okay, for good reasons. That's true. They didn't even. It didn't even get to. It didn't even get to a half of another generation.
Yeah.
I'll give it the top of C tier.
All right. So
I feel like that actually. Honestly, I feel guilty now. That actually, I can hear the pain in your heart.
It's it's fine.
I'm telling you, it's because you're seeing it through rose-colored nostalgia glasses.
I know, and going into this, I was fully prepared to be like, this isn't actually that great of a controller. And now that I see it
you just want to defend it. You just want to defend your friend that's getting beat up. Yeah.
Okay. Well, after our revisions, we have the N64 controller and the PS Vita in C tier. So we got a big fat C tier. A lot of game controllers are to meh.
They really are. Honestly, if you want, I'll right now coin flip you. Whoever wins the coin flip gets their pick back into B tier.
Yeah, hell yeah. I like that. Let's do it.
All right. What do you want?
I want Tails.
Tails? Yeah. Tails never fails. Flipping.
Oh, yeah, come baby. On! N64 is going back into good.
All right, N64. All right, guys, it's been a roller coaster of emotions for the N64 fans here, but N64 actually is back in the good tier due to the random act of God.
All right, guys, we're running a little long, but we're gonna wrap fun. This up. This was a fun episode.
This was a fun episode.
So
especially doing it twice.
Yeah. And my recording's still going, so that's good.
Good. But all right, guys, it's been a blast. Thank you so much for listening to us today all the way through. You made it. You can pat yourself on the back. Whatever you're doing, you could be done with because we're no longer going to talk to you. But otherwise, please, guys, if you guys really enjoy this, please give us some feedback. Give us a share. Let us know over the internet if you enjoy what we've been doing here at the Player Power Podcast. Feel free to share your comments and thoughts on Twitter at Player Power Pod. Or share directly to me or Corey. You can follow me on Twitter at ShadowhawkSSB. That's Shadowhawk with an E at the end and then SSB for Super Smash Bros. Or you can follow Corey at
Corey Richmond on Twitter.
Yes.
CRichmond6 on Instagram, I think. And
he thinks.
Most importantly, follow us at Player Power Pod on Twitter. Thank you guys for coming back. We hope you look forward to Season 2 of the Player Power Podcast.
Farley well, friends.